A monitoring and evaluation plan begins with a logic model. The logic model identifies the impacts that you are trying to create through your program and then works backwards to the outputs, the activities and the inputs required in order to create those impacts. The next step is then to identify indicators for each level of impact as well as the outcomes, outputs, activities and inputs. So after you decide on your indicators related to your inputs, activities and outputs will be tracked through monitoring. That's usually done through your internal process of data collection. The indicators related to your outcomes and impacts are usually measured through an evaluation. So for those indicators, if you want to conduct an evaluation, you then have to create an evaluation design and then the data collection tools in order to measure those indicators. So an indicator is a measure of a change that you are trying to create. If you look at development projects, what they all have in common is that they're trying to create some kind of change. And to know when that change has happened, you use indicators to measure progress. Indicators really must come from your logic model. So they will be the ways to measure the changes and results that are in your logic model. The next step is to pilot test your tools. The reasons for pilot testing are both to see if your questions are questions that can be easily understood by respondents, whether the responses that they are giving you are in the format that you expect and can be easily recorded as per your, the way you've structured your tools, and also to actually look at the process of running the evaluation. Is the data that you will use to create your sample available? Is it data that can be used? All of these questions are things you should test out when pilot testing. The most commonly used tools are surveys, focus group discussions, and interviews. Surveys tend to be a more quantitative tool, whereas focus group discussions and interviews tend to be more qualitative.
So when it comes to the role of technology in doing this activity, in terms of being able to monitor and evaluate the work that's going on, it has become quite evident that few of the prominent players in this segment have already started looking towards implementing well-known open source technologies in this M&E framework. It's very difficult in the rural settings to go about collecting paper-based surveys and then bringing it back to the office and entering the data into the system, which is usually what people use is Excel. So it becomes quite difficult if Excel is the only source that is being used for collection and analysis of data, mainly because there is a lot of issue in terms of data entry, the data being entered in the wrong way, and then it taking time to get again entered into an Excel, and then we using it to analyze and report the data to the different stakeholders of the project or the different stakeholders in the organization. If you look at the latest technologies that are available now, pretty much most of them are open source technologies that can be cost effectively deployed into the social sector. One of the well-known is ODK, which is Open Data Kit. So Open Data Kit is a framework which can be customized to any kind of requirement, and you can start from collection of data all the way to analyzing data using these open source platforms. So here in rural settings, you could as well, without having internet connection, you could collect data at various source points. It could be in a village, or it could be in one of the towns, or it could be in groups where you go about asking questions through your surveys, collect the data, and as soon as the internet connection is available either back in office or any other area, you are able to submit the data from this particular smartphone onto the Open Data Kit database, which is again an open source database. So the data that comes out there can be now moved into any cost-effective platforms like Salesforce or other platforms where the rich features of analysis are available, wherein you can customize reports, where you can visualize data in graphs, in charts, and even in the form of tables, even in the form of summary.
Simpa sells solar as a service to energy-poor households and micro-enterprises in rural India. And by that, I mean that we are offering small-scale solar equipment, solar home systems, on a pay-as-you-go basis. We are a for-profit social enterprise, which means we're here to make a profit, but we're also here to maximize the social impact. Monitoring and evaluation is very important for a social enterprise because the investors, the founders, are coming to this organization with mixed objectives. Unlike a simple for-profit organization, we don't just want to maximize return for the investors. We want to do so in a way that's also maximizing the impact that we're having. So when you think about sort of our business model chronologically, there are a set of inputs and a set of activities, and then this flows through right to the ultimate sort of impact metrics that would be evaluated. There's the inputs, the activities, the outputs, the outcomes, and ultimately the impact. And the impact that we care about is expanding access to clean energy. Now, as an entrepreneur, I think about organizing resources. So the key resources are, of course, the people, the solar product, and the capital. Now, there's a set of activities that we do with those resources, right? We sell, we service, we market, we collect payments from our customers. Now, as a for-profit social enterprise, we want to earn a return, but we also want that impact. So now we start to measure the outputs, the outcomes, and ultimately the impact that is happening for our customers. And this is important to us as a for-profit social enterprise because the founders and the investors and the board of directors all care equally about earning a return and maximizing the social impact. When considering which indicators we should track, we considered a few factors. Some are sort of external, thinking about the investors that we're bringing in, the things that they care about and want to measure. We're thinking about that customer value proposition, what ideas resonate most with them. So based on some initial sales experience, we learned that our customers do care very much about education. They care very much about, and they talk about the health impacts of kerosene. They complain about headaches, about eye irritation. So we wanted to know if those are real. I mean, does our solution actually improve their health outcomes? So we listened to what customers were telling us about the product and its impact. That gave us a hint. We listened to ourselves and what we thought sort of mattered to us as a company and why we're here doing this. And we listened to our funders and the kinds of impact metrics that they were looking for as well.